the book Only Don't Know. The whole book is a book of teaching letters. Somebody would write a letter to Zen Master Seung Sahn, and then he would reply. And it was actually the very first book of his that I got. I was about 18 years old, and somebody from my Aikido class gave me a stack of books that included Alan Watts and Confucius and the Tao Te Ching, and this book called Only Don't Know. And I just fell in love with that book. And there are two teaching letters that particularly hit me. One of them is very early in the book. Zen Master Seung Sahn had diabetes during his life. And so he was kind of always, he was mercurial, but he's also kind of in bad physical shape with this diabetes. And so he was often going to the hospital. And a lot of people thought he was going to die pretty young. He actually lived well into his 80s. But he was in the hospital several times. And so one of the early letters, somebody had said, "I hope your health is going well. I heard you were in the hospital." And he responded, "Yes, I'm doing well. I'm out of the hospital." While I was in the hospital, I was in this room with a double bed, and there was a man in the other bed. And this man was quite wealthy, and he had a big family, and he was very successful. So I was asking him, "You have all this money, and you have this wonderful family, and what have you attained? What does this all mean?" And the man said, "Nothing. Nothing." And when I read that as a young person, I mean, that's the greatest fear of my entire life. that I would somehow forget spirituality. I would forget all the stuff that was important to me, the spirituality, and I would just get into the rat race, and I would grow old. And then I was old and in the hospital bed, and somebody said, what was the meaning of your life? And I had nothing to show for it. I had forgotten about it, So that was like my greatest fear. Zen Master Seung Sahn said, "Great." That's the starting point. When you understand that the meaning of all this accumulation in your life, when the meaning is just nothing. Let me turn musicians on so you can hear my clapping. Nothing. Then we can start. Just now. This is where our practice begins, when we put everything down. Yeah. So, to me, that was really meaningful. It was a big hit to my mind that the beginning of this practice is actually putting down all of that perceived life investment, all of that work that my family programming was telling me was going to give me worth. He was saying, when you put that down, then this life actually begins. Then this practice actually begins.